G'day guys, welcome back to the Scooby-Doo Forever channel. Another special, Italian special I should say, for you guys in Pompeii circumstance today, which is the 13th episode of What's New Scooby-Doo Season 1. Little quick side note before we get started with the reveal, I'll actually be reviewing the What's New Scooby-Doo episodes after I finish Scooby-Doo and Guess Who. Just in case you guys were wondering, what my series might be once I've done Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, it'll be What's New Scooby-Doo, and I'm so excited for them because there's so many great episodes in this one. And just like in the Scooby-Doo show, if you've already seen my last video, which came out, 5 minutes ago, in A Menace in Venice, or if you've already somehow watched it, which is pretty much impossible, but anyways, if you've already watched the episode and I said I love that episode because they were, I love the show because they go around visiting many different places all over the world, and that's the same in What's New Scooby-Doo, and I love this series because of it. But let's jump straight into the review. Pompeii circumstance.
Oh, hey, check this out. He's a gladiator! Still alive!
Right, like I said, this one was titled Pompeii and Circumstance. Absolutely superb episode, paced in Pompeii, based all over Italy, such a superb episode. And to be honest with you, originally, before I went to Pompeii, Vesuvius, I've always found the place cool, and I've always been interested in it. But the actual episode is a bit boring at times, I guess. It's just not as good and well done as other What's New Scooby-Doo episodes. And yeah, look, the mystery, I guess, isn't as entertaining as most in What's New Scooby-Doo. In Season 1, I feel like the mysteries just weren't executed to perfection. But Season 2 and Season 3 mysteries are superb. The mystery in this one, unfortunately, wasn't amazing. But after watching it back, after I visited Pompeii, I watched it, overseas, actually in Italy, not in Pompeii, because I went there for a day trip, about a week and a half ago now, or maybe even 2 weeks, by the time this video comes out. So quite some time ago, but still I can remember it fantastically, and it's so similar to this episode, which is why I love it so much. Originally, before going to Italy, I would give this one a 7.5 out of 10, which isn't great for What's New Scooby-Doo. Believe me, I don't think I rank an episode below 6 in What's New Scooby-Doo. That's how good they are. I just love the series. So good to get into. So good to binge watch, that's for sure. Binge watched the series multiple times in recent years. But yeah, 7.5 is what I would have given it if I wasn't, if I hadn't visited Italy. Because I did, I've got to give this one a 10. And that is a massive jump. But I've just got so much nostalgia for it now that I've actually been there. And it's so accurate to the actual Pompeii and everything. And even in this episode, they visit the island of Capri, which is amazing. Like, how much knowledge they have of these places, and it really makes me think about if they're the same with other episodes that I don't necessarily enjoy because the mystery wasn't so good, but they're so accurate and so lifelike places. It definitely gets you thinking if I'm like a bit harsh on the locations and What's New Scooby-Doo. And yeah, I've just given this one a 10 out of 10 because I've got so much nostalgia for the location. I've been jibber-jabbering away without actually talking about this episode. This episode obviously was located in Pompeii for majority of it. The villain was the Zombie Gladiator, who was pretty horrific looking. It wasn't exactly spooky and didn't do horribly too much, but he's still a pretty cool villain, and I've got some pretty cool nostalgia for him as, gladiators are a pretty big part of Italy. especially Rome. Not necessarily Pompeii, but Rome, they're pretty big, and it was really, really cool. Just such a superb episode as well. Like, there's so many great things about it, and they obviously start off their sightseeing over Italy. They first go to Pisa. Didn't go to Pisa, unfortunately, but still such a great place. Cool to see the Leaning Tower of Pisa. They look like they enjoyed it as well. They also went to the Spanish Steps. I did go to the Spanish Steps. I didn't record any videos there, if you've seen some of my recent shorts, but I did take photos there. They also went to the Trevi Fountain. I also did that. I've also got a video clip of me doing what they did at the Trevi Fountain, if you want to see that now, and also the gangs one. Then there's just so many other great memorable photos they took there as well, with Shaggy in front of the Colosseum. Pretty cool stuff. And there was also one of Scooby leaning over a boat in Venice, which is cool. Amazing as well, because I've already reviewed an episode in Venice, but they actually get their food delivered on gondolas there, so it was actually really cool. It was so lifelike as well. All the buildings and stuff like that. Obviously, they took a photo there, which was really, really cool. They also took a photo at St. Marco Square, which I obviously went to, was obviously featured in the last special episode I reviewed. It was not really special, but I'm making them special now, and they always will be special to me. And it's obviously Shaggy covered in pigeons, which was really, really cool. Such a fantastic episode. They also, in this one, a bit of trivia, they also visited this really cool mini Colosseum in Pompeii. I'll show you a picture of that in real life now. And it's really, really cool. Just fantastic how they included that as well. So lifelike and really, really amazing. Didn't get too many characters in this one, which, it's a bit of a hit and miss. It can be really good sometimes, really bad this times. I actually really, really enjoyed it without many characters. You obviously got the tour guide, female. I don't know what her name was. You also got the waitress, who appeared for a little bit. I mean, I guess you can call her a character or not. You've got the Ugo police guard, and you've also got the barge captain of the garbage boat. So quite a number of characters that appeared for short amount of times in this episode. I can't really call them main characters, I guess, but whatever. Still fantastic, though. This episode, absolutely superb. Still can't get over how much nostalgia I have for it. Gladiator didn't do too much for me, but had some pretty memorable scenes, especially on those horses running around. Obviously, the chase song was pretty cool, Hackapito. I can actually translate that for you guys. I can do a little bit of translation of some of Italian that Fred and the gang spoke in this episode, but I guess it really doesn't matter. But yeah, the chase song was really, really cool. Really, really superb. Guess I didn't really enjoy it that much, to be honest with you guys, when I first I watched the episode, and even before going to Italy. So I guess I didn't really enjoy it, but now I really enjoy it a lot more, which is really, really cool. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Hackapito means how it means do you understand, or something like that, or it's do you follow, stuff like that. Anyway.
I think they're coming.
He's jumped the net.
After him!
Moving back on to the episode, There was a really cool scene as well with the Emperor Caesar Salidus and the Gladiator in that, mini Colosseum, when they were attacking Fred. Daphne eventually saves the day, but that was a really, really cool scene and definitely a memorable one. Another memorable one was when they went to Capri. I haven't been there. My parents have though, so that's pretty cool. It had a cool little boat chase scene out to Capri, which was really, really cool, so I enjoyed that. Obviously enjoyed when they went up to Vesuvius, which was like the main center part of the mystery. The Gladiator was using that to basically to his advantage, basically. I'm not going to spoil it yet. I'll mention it more on the reveal, and I really enjoyed that when they went up to Vesuvius, because that's exactly what I did. I went up to Vesuvius. Very, very similar to, this episode when I actually went up there. I was surprised how similar it actually was. I wasn't expecting it to be that similar, but it certainly was that similar. I guess complaints. It's a bit difficult to pick out complaints. It's obviously a pretty perfect episode. There obviously are a bit of faults with it, but I just got to be nice to it just because I've been there, and I've just got massive nostalgia for the episode now, which was really cool. Still had a little bit of nostalgia for the episode actually before going to Italy, because Italy's just so cool. But once you've actually been to Italy, it just completely changes your perspective on this episode and Italy. So really, really cool. The reason why I like this episode is basically due to nostalgia, or at least really like it. The reveal, it turns out to be two people really, but the Gladiator turns out to be Ugo, the night guard. And he was basically, posing as a night guard. Well, I mean, he technically was a night guard, but he was using it to his advantage, his job, to try and keep people out of Pompeii at night. And they had all those Scooby companies around, which isn't really real, but whatever. They had all the modern Scooby buildings all over Italy that the gang saw, and that was used because, he's the vice president of it. He uses all those artifacts they find and puts them into the volcano or the Vesuvius, and the lava that comes up, melts them down and they can smuggle them easily. That was really cool. The other person that was the bad guy doing most of the work of finding all the jewels and stuff like that, and transporting them up to the Vesuvius was the barge captain, and he also poses the Emperor as well, and they only did that to really scare people away from Pompeii, and you get away with murder. Obviously not an amazing plot. We've seen it before, but it's still pretty cool. So you take it. It was pretty cool how he said meddling bambinos, which is meddling kids as well, and in Italian, which was pretty cool.
I got your call, and I brought Il Poliziotto Officer Fabrocini. These two were trying to destroy ancient Italian treasures.
Ugo, the night guard?
Nobody's perfect.
I connected his neck brace with that whiplash stop the Gladiator made in his boat. And listen to this. But why was he going to all that trouble? My guess is our Gladiator here works for the Scungimondo Corporation.
I'm a vice president.
They couldn't build on sites where there are ancient cultural artifacts, and so he's been illegally scooping up the archaeological treasures from all over Italy and dumping them into Vesuvius to be absorbed by boiling lava. They rigged that generator machinery so it would raise the buried lava up over the piles of artifacts.
Then they were free to put up all those modern buildings we've seen.
And Captain Guzman was also the Emperor. They played those roles to scare away intruders.
See, and especially meddling bambinos.
At the end of the episode, Fred orders a special dish in Italian, which turns out to be a plant, and Shaggy and Scooby, have a little, pasta dish, which is obviously famous in Italy, and such a fantastic episode. Really, really, really enjoyed it. Also enjoyed just the gang going around Italy. They went to Naples for a bit, you know, they went to Capri, they went to Pompeii, obviously. They went everywhere. It was just so good watching the gang just going on their adventure all over Italy and going on like their holiday. It was just absolutely superb. They obviously got on a lot of holidays in this episode. They even cut in this series, obviously. They obviously go to Australia, which again is another great episode, which I have nostalgia for, obviously. But this one was just so fantastic watching the gang make it around as well. I do want to mention as well, it had the right amount of comedy and creepiness, not necessarily spookiness, but creepiness mixed with this episode. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more spookiness if I was to be a little bit picky. But yeah, pretty well mixed. Plus, in this series, Shaggy and Scooby, and obviously Fred when he's, trying to speak Italian, it's quite funny. They do most of the comedy, you feel, when Daphne's, got her super purse, I guess, with all these different, things that she can use to, unlock stuff, doors, stuff like that. She's also very, very smart in this series. And obviously you've got Velma, who's well played by Mindy Cohen in What's New Scooby-Doo. Really, really well played. My favourite Velma of all the Velmas is probably What's New or Mystery Incorporated. One of the two. She's really, really well done. I really enjoyed her, and I really enjoyed this episode. Really enjoyed the series. And yeah, made up a pretty good special, that's for sure. I hope you guys enjoyed the review and both of my Italian special reviews. Absolutely superb. As I said earlier, I'll be reviewing What's New Scooby-Doo after Scooby-Doo and Guess Who. But I've still got another season of Scooby-Doo and Guess Who to review, starting with Season 2, starting next week, Season 2, Episode 1, The Phantom, The Talking Dog, and The Hot, Hot, Hot Sauce. And I'll see you guys then.
You're not supposed to be. What? Who are you? I am the Zombie Gladiator in person. Oh, you're not. I look a lot shorter without my chariot. I demand, some explaining.